Okay, I think we're live. Let's see. I'm looking. Audio's coming through. All right. Hey, everybody. Fingers crossed. All right. Hey, everybody. Welcome to the live stream. Let's see. Got to get this metering on my face. This is the Rising Read live stream. Let's see. Sorry. Come on, camera. Get it together. Broadcasting live. Broadcasting live from the West Coast. Kind of right in between Palm Springs and Joshua Tree, California. In the Mojave Desert, right at the border, actually, of the Mojave Desert and the Sonoran Desert, right at the border of San Bernardino County and Riverside County, although firmly in San Bernardino County, which is, somebody just told me, the largest county in the United States in terms of land area. I didn't fact check that, but that's what I've been told. Actually, I heard that at the dump. And you know, that's where you hear a lot of interesting news in this town, this very small town. If you could even call it a town. We are unincorporated. We have a community services district and a fire department. And that's about it. Anyways, I hope everybody's doing good out there. Hey, Birdie. Hey, Ann. Thanks so much. And thanks for letting me know how the audio is. I really appreciate that. Yeah, the dump is for socialites. I like that. I like that a lot. It sure is. I mean, somebody made an offer on the truck that was for sale at the dump. I should have taken up on. Actually, I got their number and they never replied. We're doing good here. I got this gigantic dumpster delivered yesterday. It's humongous. It's 40 yards. I wish I could show you guys. I'll post a photo on the in the forums, which is fun. The forums are fun. It's a great group of people there. Let's see. On the website again. This is my live stream for my accordion performance and mostly my accordion teaching. My name is Dallas Vietti, and the website is called risingread.com. And I assume most people watching have been watching, but if you're new, welcome. Thanks for checking this out. We're live on 3 platforms so far: Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. So welcome to everybody watching on all those platforms. The opening piece that we watched is Samuel Barber's Adagio for Strings, performed by, let me give credit to the performers, the Bajan duo, M-Melody, so it's like melody, and the performers' names are Elodie Solard and Maxime Fedorov, and I performed that, or I didn't perform that, I played that performance, which is quite beautiful, because for my artist date this week, I went to see a string quartet down in Palm Desert at a beautiful church there. And one of the pieces they performed was this piece. However, it was the way it was originally intended. This piece is composed by Samuel Barber. And it's known as Adagio for Strings. And that's how I known it. You know, I believe it's in like Fifth Element. No, what's it called? What's the one with the monkey virus and the time traveling? That one. That movie. Isn't it? I don't know. It's in a bunch of movies. It's in like a ton of movies. It's amazing composition. And apparently it's originally from this string quartet that Samuel Barber, an American composer, wrote. And it's the second movement in a 3-movement string quartet. And they performed it there. So that was neat to get to know that information, then also to kind of hear it in its original version. Apparently the story is that some big important conductor heard that performed somewhere and then wrote to Samuel Barber and said, hey, can you write a version of this for a string orchestra? And so Samuel Barber did, and then it was performed, I think maybe in the 50s or something, by the CBS orchestra or something like that, and it became hugely known in that version as a piece for like string orchestra, but it's originally for a string quartet. And it was cool to hear the other two, the first movement and the third movement. The third movement is very short. The first movement is longer, and it's quite chromatic, which is very cool. Very, very different. The first movement, maybe I can find a little bit of that. Well, anyways, in the second half, I'll find a little bit of that. But very chromatic in its movement it's tonal, but very, very chromatic, I would say, as opposed to like atonal, where there's no tonal centers. Yeah, so that was cool. And good on me for doing my artist date in a way that was good for me and inspiring. Moving right along, we're in a series of 12 weeks of a book club, and we've done this before. The last book club we did was on the Pablo Casal's The Art of Interpretation book, Pablo Casal's and the Art of Interpretation, which was a super cool book about really interpreting music that's on the page, and with an emphasis on classical music, Baroque, classical, romantic, mostly classical and Baroque. And these beautiful ideas of making rainbows and all this other kind of stuff. And this book, The Artist's Way, let's see, let me pull it up. The Artist's Way, which we're going to do in this first hour, is not necessarily about music per se. It's just about the artistic process and what we know already. Let's see, let me adjust the chat here. Get it out of my face a little bit. What we know about the Artist's Way is that there are a few things I would summarize about the Artist's Way that we know, which is fun. One is it's intended to be a rehabilitation or a healing of our artistic self. So recovery. And so all these chapters are recovering a sense of identity, recovering a sense of, what was last week's? Recovering a sense of identity. The first chapter was recovering a sense of safety. Second chapter was recovering a sense of identity. And this is recovering a sense of power. So these are recovering, right? We're healing, we're recovering, we're coming back to something that we once had before. I like that a lot. And this, just to connect to other stuff, it reminds me of in my ketamine treatment, the space baby. It's like, my kind of primal sense, like who I am before all this shaping, before my parents messed me up in school and society and all this kind of stuff. And she talks a little bit about that. Our young artists, our child artists or earlier artists. So, and it's very fun. And I know we have like a cool thing going on in the forums now on Rising Read. I can show that to you guys. That'll be fun. I don't know if it's going to center properly because it usually doesn't. There we go. Over here on the forums, we're checking in and we got some great contributions. So we're up to week 3 here, recovering a sense of power. Oh, I can turn off the stream starting soon because the stream has started. And that's cool. It's really fun. And honestly, what I posted today in my reply, my check-in is like, I feel very inspired by what everybody else is sharing over there on the forums. But yeah, to recap the book so far, I mean, the main themes are that we're recovering, we're healing and recovering this sense of creativity. And that we're to find creativity through this idea of a God or a universal creative force, however we feel that. And that's a little bit of a stretch for me. I'm definitely more of a sort of non-believer skeptic, and I have been since I was young. And that's just my own personal thing. But she said, just be open-minded about it. And so I'm really allowing myself to be. And in fact, I had the idea of maybe prayer might be a cool thing or some version of it, like a meditation on intention. And I'll get to that in a minute. So this week I'm going to talk through the chapter. We begin, if you're playing along at home, we're beginning week 3 this week. And each week we are to read the chapter. So if you're playing along at home and you haven't read the chapter, read the chapter today. And don't forget to do your morning pages. And then she calls them tasks. They're like activities every week. Last week we were lucky to have Devin on the stream. I don't think we're going to have him on the stream this week, but maybe next week. And I have the iPad all set up, so let's get right into it. So this chapter, I got a lot out of this chapter, and I feel like the ideas are building for me, and I feel like sort of what I'm hoping to get out of this book is maybe more coming to fruition in this 3rd week's chapter than maybe the first 2, but, you got to lay the groundwork. And again, this is a self-help book. So anybody that's read self-help books, which I assume is everybody, knows that they all kind of follow a similar path. You have to lay out like the problem, really describe the problem and what the problem is that a person has and why they need a solution to it. And sometimes self-help books are like really tedious in that way because they seem to go on and on and on about the problem. It's like, I know the problem. That's why I picked up the book. Now just tell me the solution. Tell me what to do. So this chapter is cool. It's broken down into a few different parts. We have anger, which I'll kind of summarize and talk through, which is cool. We have synchronicity. We have, let's see, after synchronicity is guilt. Where's guilt? Oh, pardon me, not guilt. Shame, which is awesome. And then after shame, she finishes up with this idea of dealing with criticism, and then detective work, which is a little exercise. And that's pretty much it. So it's anger, synchronicity, and shame are the main themes. And in my summary of this chapter, I think really it's all the entire chapter is, I think, encompassed around the idea of shame and criticism. This idea that we are very hard on ourselves. And the idea, like when she talks about anger, she's talking about, at the beginning, she's talking about, I have highlighted here in red, anger is a map. So she wants us to understand anger. Don't be afraid of anger. Know that anger is a very good thing. It's a very necessary thing. And like in the blue highlight, anger is meant to be acted upon. It's not meant to be acted out. So don't just get angry at somebody or the wall or whatever, but use anger to show you what you really care about and what's not happening in your life that you want to happen. And so that's cool. I mean, it's like, to me, that's not a incredibly like mind blowing idea, but that's okay. I know, like, I squared in red at the top this little example of like this kind of anger, and I would say jealousy I would assign to this, even though she doesn't really say it that way. But it's like you see somebody, another artist, do something that you had the idea for and you didn't get to it yet, or you didn't finish it, or you weren't sure to start it. I was like, that's my idea, you know? And I have a very close friend that I love and who is just an amazing artist. And he shares kind of these sentiments with me a lot. And so I thought of him when I read this. And I certainly do feel the same way too. I think maybe to a lesser degree. But still, you know, but that's just something that's cool. So using anger, and I'll just kind of read my little highlights. Used properly, anger is useful. And anger isn't your enemy. Sloth, what'd she say? Sloth, apathy, and despair are your enemy. Anger is not the enemy. Anger is our friend, because anger shows us what we care about. Okay, now she gets to the idea of synchronicity. And synchronicity, I'm going to summarize. Her idea of synchronicity is this idea of, it's sort of two things from my reading of this chapter. It's the idea that we need to have faith and trust that as we do good things, the universe, God, or the universe of creative, you know, sentient, whatever, creativity, is going to bring good things back to us. And that's synchronicity. So she gives examples of, you know, somebody needing a thing and then the thing showing up in their life, essentially. And, you know, to me, like, it's like, all right, like my skeptical brain just goes, well, yeah, I mean, I could interpret anything as anything, you know what I mean? But I understand the power and the goodness of framing my view of something as the positive thing. So how I am looking at it is that as the positive things happen in my life, to frame them, to try to actively frame them and change my perspective, instead of just saying, that's a good thing. Oh, look, there's a quarter on the ground, to this kind of a direct connection from my need to the thing showing up, rather than, here's a random event that I'm going to take advantage of. And she doesn't explicitly state like why that is useful or necessary, but just that we should do it. Let me go ahead and read my little notes here. So let's see. You know, she says, I guess it's not comfortable. It's uncomfortable to believe in this kind of synchronicity. Let's see. I said my little note here is that the skeptical mind, exactly what I just said. Here's something that's interesting. The blue highlight, which is, it's important for me to like kind of put my own, how I push back against the material, because that's what I feel, you know, some sort of pushing back against it. So she says, if God, by which I do not necessarily mean a single pointed Christian concept, but an all powerful and all knowing force, does not exist, if God does not exist, an all knowing force, well then we're all off the hook, aren't we? And so that's a really interesting idea. I mean, like, anyone who's watched any sort of atheist debates or whatever, it's like, this is a very, there's a name for this in logical argument, but it's like the idea that morality has to come from a God is debated by, you know, some of the greatest minds of all time on both sides of the spectrum, you know, theologists and skeptical rational skeptics or whatever. So I don't know. I cannot take that statement. And I do happen to think that it is somewhat parental. It's like, well, there must be this big parent outside of me that tells me, I'm going to get in trouble if I don't do the right thing. So I don't really like that, but I am able to still understand her intention and turn it in a way that works for me. And I don't mean to make this about God, but we can't talk about this book, I think, so far without talking about God, and then I have to be honest about my thoughts on it, which I think is good. Let's think through it and think it out. And then my other highlight here, let's see. Life is what we make of it. I agree. And she says, whether we conceive of an inner God or force or another outer God, it doesn't matter. Relying on that force does. And I can get into that. I can see that as my more of a sort of Freudian ego, or like a should, or whatever, my should self, which I think is like a personal psychology that we all have. And then she talks about the word synchronicity, which I've heard a lot in my life. And I did not know that it is attributed to Carl Jung, which is pretty cool. And so she likes the idea of synchronicity a lot. And again, like, as I said, this idea of synchronicity is like, again, like feeling that we are connected to this universal creative life force, which has been part of the whole book since the introductions in the first and second chapter. I'll read the green highlight. The possibility of an intelligent and responsive universe acting and reacting in our interests. That's what she says is another interpretation of synchronicity. And she says, it is my experience that this is the case. I have learned as a rule of thumb never to ask whether you can do something. Say instead that you're going to do it, then fasten your seatbelt. The most remarkable things follow. I don't know why the camera just metered without me. Anyways, the lights didn't turn off. It's not an eclipse. And that's cool. And if Devin was on the stream, we were just talking about this like yesterday, because the two of us are here trying to, do this kind of large task of like this home remodel, and it's a pain in the ass. And he's, super creative and super wonderful. But I think both of us would probably rather be doing... We want this to be over with, so we can like go on to doing something else. I think. I know, at least I do. So, Devin just contributes the idea. He described it as sort of like a military attitude. Like, in the military, you just say, well, we're going to get this done, and we're just going to go until it's done, rather than kind of getting caught up with those things. And that's what this reminds me of. Okay. So then she says, understand that the what must come before the how. So again, this is faith. So you just say, I'm going to accomplish this, and I'm setting my mind to this end point. I want to da-da-da-da-da. I want to compose a little song this week. And don't be concerned with the how. Just have faith. Put your faith in this sort of thing, in this universal God sort of thing. And the blue highlight, 1,000 unseen helping hands. Joseph Campbell calls these breaks. She calls them synchronicity. It is her contention that we can count on them. So have faith. And this is where I started to think about prayer. So then she says, in the yellow highlight, block highlight at the top of the page, whatever you think you can do or believe you can do, begin it. Action has magic, grace, and power in it. Okay, cool. I like those things. And so connecting this, I'm keeping myself open, and like prayer is not a thing that's part of my process usually, but meditation and intention are, and I think they're very much, very, very similar, if not the same. And so in the spirit of this, a thing that I want to do is I want to add some sort of intention setting / prayer / like meditating on what I want. And I think what I'd like to do in the self-help sense is try to set up something maybe at the end of my day. So either at the end of my work day, like when the last thing when I say I'm done with work, or maybe before I go to bed or something like that, or get in bed or something as I transition, to kind of take just a few minutes and to sort of say a prayer or set an intention and just meditate on what I want the next day to bring. And in that kind of faithful idea that like, this is what I want, and I'm not going to worry. I'm not going to like be consumed about the details that I'm going to plan this, and this could happen. Just, nope. This is the outcome that I want, and I have faith and trust. Synchronicity, the world will bring it to me. This is sort of the secret, isn't it? That book, the Oprah Winfrey Book Club book, the Power of Positive Thinking. a lot of people talk about it, So I guess it's easy to criticize, but many people talk about this as useful. Okay, now getting to what I think is maybe the most core, like all this other stuff is kind of core for this chapter, to talk about this next idea, which is shame. And the shame, basically, to summarize it, I think from my reading, the shame she describes as two different kinds of shame. One is shame which comes from the childhood experience, or she calls this like your young artist self, your family, maybe your teachers, your creative environment, your friends, that sort of thing, and these various sort of things that can cause shame, all sorts of things that cause shame for us. She talks about familial shame, shame with dysfunctional families and all that sort of thing. And then the other kind of like shame she talks about, or another source, is from like sort of the professional working artist, and when you receive criticism in various ways. So either a professional critic, like she tells stories about her own work being criticized by professional critics in the media, or just friends or other acquaintances who give you kind of critical feedback, and how to deal with that. And I think that this is really the core of this chapter, as far as recovering the power, is really about this recovering shame, or different ways of working through our shame as artists, which is really cool, because I resonated with this. And I wonder, anyone out there who's done the reading, I don't know, Anne or Bertie, or if Tom's in the chat, or anybody else watching, or Richard, if you guys have done the reading yet. But let me go through my little notes here. So shame is a controlling device. Shaming someone is an attempt to prevent the person from behaving in a way that embarrasses us. So it's controlling somebody else to help ourselves. And that's helpful, because if I feel shamed by somebody else, to know that they're just trying to control me for their benefit kind of can help me let go of that, or see it differently, She says, this is cool. Making a piece of art may feel a lot like telling a family secret. Secret telling by its very nature involves shame and fear. It asks the question, what will they think of me once they know this? And I absolutely feel this way. When I read this paragraph, I thought, man, in my creative process, I really come across this in the things that I do that are the most sort of outside my comfort zone, and the most wholly created by me, that stretch the most, that seem the most like, well, I'm not just making an arrangement or adding some ornaments or something to this song. I'm actually writing all the music. That's when the shame kicks in. Telling a secret about myself. It's like, oh, this is what you've got, Dallas. This is who you really are. That's all there is there. That kind of sucks. Which I guess is more critical, but I resonate with that shame. So she said, this is a frightening question, particularly if we have ever been made to feel ashamed for our curiosities and explorations. So that's another way to turn that narrative. And in the margin, I said, so true. I identify with that. The red box I highlighted, the act of making art exposes a society to itself. How about that? That's pretty cool. I like that. I like that the art that we make, the music that we make as accordion players, is part of our community, part of our society. It's very important for us to contribute, whatever our society is, whether it's the local geography, like if I play a concert in the town that I live in, or if somebody across the country or across the world hears me through the internet, that's still part of our community, right? Our society. And she says, art brings things to light. How cool. How cool. Even if it is such maybe abstract, I think in a way instrumental music is highly abstract at the same time as it's not. I mean, it's also so deeply emotional, but it doesn't deal with like concrete ideas like a cat, like a melody, a melodic, phrase, unless it's really trying to mimic the sound of a cat, like onomatopoeia or whatever. But those sort of things. But that's cool that it illuminates us. And she says it sheds light on our lingering darkness. It casts a beam into the heart of our own darkness. And it says, see, And there we go. So this is about the artist. So when I compose that thing that I feel like, oh my gosh, like, oh, that's all you got? That's so, and then what you call the censor. The censor starts going in, and she told us the censor is always wrong. The censor's going to say, that's crap. That sounds like a million things everybody else wrote. That's not new. That's dumb, da-da-da. And then I start to feel shame, like, oh, I'm not better or whatever that happens. It casts a beam into the heart of our own darkness. I really like that a lot. Okay. Art opens the closets, airs out the cellars and the attics. So now she's telling us like that this shame is actually therapeutic and we need to do it, which is cool. And I think that's why I like this chapter the most. It's like starting to really like sort of fan the flames of creativity rather than just sort of investigating ourselves, which the previous 2 chapters didn't have a whole lot to do with actually artistic creation so much as this chapter. So art, it opens up our closets, it airs out the cellars and attics, it brings healing. And so by being challenged, by taking risks, by showing our work that's actually therapeutic and helpful to ourselves and our society. I love that. I really love that. That's very useful for me, and I want to hang on to that idea. She says, before a wound can heal, it must be seen, right? Well, that's not exactly true, but I understand what she's saying. And this act of exposing the wound to air and light, the artist act, is often reacted to with shaming. Bad reviews are a prime source of shame for many artists. The truth is, many reviews do aim at creating shame in an artist. Shame on you. How dare you make that rotten piece of art? Okay. All right, now this next one. So for the artist, this is where I have the little black U, the black mark on the left side. So for the artist who endured childhood shaming over any form of neediness, any type of exploration, any expectation shaming may kick in without even the aid of a shame-provoking review. If a child has ever been made to feel foolish for believing himself or herself talented, the act of actually finishing a piece of art will be fraught with internal shaming. Now, both my parents are deceased, so I can't really bring this up with them. And it's a little trashy to just kind of, talk about what's wrong with my parents, on a live stream to the world. But I have to share that this like immediately kind of brought forward this thing. And like my parents did support me in so many ways. Like I love them. They were fantastic in so many ways. But, just to kind of air out this shame and look and reflect, I did this particular paragraph did make me think about how like I felt like there was always with my dad, there was always kind of this, he was just always ready with my doubts. When I brought my doubts about music and stuff, he was always ready to just kind of throw in the cards like, okay, yeah, you're right. Yeah, you should drop out of school. Like, yeah, you probably shouldn't be a professional musician. You should go on. And some of that is natural and normal, and I think very universal. Every parent, really wants the best for their kids. And to say to your parents, like, I want to be a professional musician is like, not the most responsible thing for a parent to hear, and probably creates a lot of fear. But that's one thing that I would have, if I could maybe go back in time and construct, some qualities a little bit better, it would be like for both my parents to, in addition to, they supported me so well. Like they paid for music lessons and they paid for music camps and stuff. And they never told me I shouldn't do things, but they never kind of boosted me up to excel and succeed. And I think there was this sort of like kind of energy from my dad of just kind of like, you're not really going to do it. You're you're probably going to fail, That's at least my sense of it, or that's, sort of something there. So it's like a little bit of like believing in yourself and setting a high bar. I can do it, all that sort of stuff. Checking in with the chat. We got some people. So Anne said that opening piece was really powerful about the Samuel Barber. I agree. It's gorgeous. And then Birdie says comparison is a real big shame for him. Yeah, comparison, exactly. And I imagine that Julia Cameron would call that the censor. I think she does. I don't know. I don't know if anyone else, this is, you don't have to say in the chat or whatever, but if you resonate with that idea of your child self, and the shame, especially in a creative way, or as a child, whenever you entered music. Let's see. So then, let's see. Then she talks about, okay, this is interesting. Adults who grew up in dysfunctional homes learn to use this as a coping device very well. So this is the paragraph above, which I didn't read, which talks about like as we, instead of completing something, we sort of run away from it. So and this is like the story of my artistic life right here. I guess I should read the paragraph in front of it. Many artists begin a piece of work, get well along into it, and then find as they near completion that the work seems mysteriously drained of merit. That is like, amen, 100 emoji. Like that is exactly what I experience over and over and over again. And she talks about the therapist, they say this is a routine coping device employed to deny pain and ward off vulnerability. Okay, and so if we go back up to the red highlight above, we need to I'll use the I instead of the we. I don't know what you guys need to do, but I'll take her advice. I'll say I need to complete it because that is airing out my attic and my basement. This is cleaning things out, allowing the wounds. This is healing me and society too. I really like that idea. That is, I'm invested in this idea that like me as an artist, I'm tied to my little society. And one of the reasons that I feel that way is because often I want to go out and hear music, and in the towns that I'm living in out here and in Pennsylvania, it's not often that I really get to easily hear the music that I love. In New Orleans, that was not the case. It was abundant and super easy. Like there was more amazing music on any day than you could possibly get to. If that's all you did in your life was go see music, you couldn't see all the music every day, every week that you wanted to. Just impossible. Surf it. There's a high school vocabulary word coming back to my brain. Anyways, so she references that. Then the next idea is, which I'll say is, adults who grew up in a dysfunctional home learn to use this coping device, which is like to cope by just running away or saying, this is junk, I'm going to start over, or I should give up or whatever. And we call it detachment or numbing out. I identify with that, and that's good. This whole thing is good. It's kind of cyclical. The next highlight I have is shame is re-triggered in us as adults because our internal artist is always our creative child. Dang, that's a heavy sentence. I'm going to read that again. Shame is re-triggered in us as adults because our internal artist is always our creative child. And that's very true, I think. It's very true. Like, to be an adult is to be responsible. I would say adult characteristics of responsibility involve doing things that sort of meet our needs in other ways, and don't necessarily always feel free. You know, freedom, I think, is sort of attached with childlikeness. I don't know what the word is I'm thinking of here. Anyways, I think that's cool to think of ourselves, to think of the artist as our creative child, as a child that we need to protect and heal and all that sort of stuff. And then I have the paragraph below. We don't make art with its eventual criticism foremost in mind. So we don't start art and say, well, how is this going to be criticized? But criticism that asks a question like, how could you, can make an artist feel like a shamed child. A well-meaning friend who constructively criticizes a beginning writer may very well end that writer. Let's see. Okay. So then she says, so then she talks about not all criticism is bad. So you can have criticism that is helpful. You know, when we have criticism that helps us understand the art and how it can just be better, then that's a good thing. And that's kind of obvious, right? But we don't want criticism that damages. So she says disparages, dismisses, ridicules, or condemns. Okay, cool. And then she talks about a perfectionist friend with, I can think of one in my head, amazing musician who is really, really great and very cool in so many other ways. But I don't feel comfortable really. I sort of learned over the years that I don't feel that comfortable. I don't really feel very supported in our friendship as an accordion player because I feel like maybe this person is sort of projecting their perfectionism so much, and it doesn't feel like celebrating. I want a friend to sort of celebrate with me. That's what I'm looking for. And I don't get that. And it doesn't mean I don't really love and like this person a lot, but just that friend is not the greatest in that capacity. I imagine that they're that way to themselves as well, which is fine. Okay, moving forward. So she says in the green, we can learn to comfort our artist child over unfair criticism. We can learn to find friends with whom we can safely vent our pain. Right? Okay, obvious. We got to do that. In the yellow, we must learn to protect our artist child from shame, and we do this by diffusing our childhood shamings, getting them on the page, and sharing them with a trusted, non-shaming other. So maybe there's going to be some exercises this week, some tasks, I think she calls them, or maybe this is just something that we need to do. I thoroughly believe in having confidants, and that phrase, I mean like people that I can call up or see in person and just tell the most embarrassing, shaming things about myself, very honest and open and vulnerable, and then just go, oh man, yeah, that's messed up. Wow, that must suck, in an affirming and helpful way. And sometimes they'll say, what can I do for you? But it's really just about kind of sharing and getting that affirming, or witnessing of it. Holding space, some people call it. And then my little heart, it goes to, she says, by telling our shame secrets around our art and telling them through our art. So getting our shame out, saying, I have this shame, this pain, and I'm sharing it. I know it's going to come out, and it's going to come out through the art, which is like kind of the cyclical thing. The art is triggering the shame, but I'm sharing the shame through the art, and I don't know. By doing that, we release ourselves and others from darkness. That's so beautiful. I love that it's this reciprocal thing, which she talked about exchange early in the book, in the introduction, I think, or maybe first chapter. She talked about how the act of creation is an exchange. Exchange with whom? So this could be our society, our others. And she says this release is not always welcomed. Next, underlined in green, we must learn that when our art reveals a secret of the human soul, those watching it may try to shame us for making it. Okay, so we just got to know that when we're vulnerable, it could trigger sort of not positive things from other people. She talks about it kind of similar to, she talks about self-doubt also as another kind of component. So we have this idea of shame, and now she's calling self-doubt, and how self-doubt can sort of trigger and multiply, and she describes it like an alcoholic, somebody that's trying to be sober, but then has a drink, and then that drink just kind of breaks the dam, and they just keep going. Okay. Then she talks about, positive ways to deal with shame and positive ways she has dealt with shame. So she talked about this very painful critical review she got by a journalist or a critic. And she said, she didn't totally eat the shame and hate herself. She did some things which were a little better. She went for a walk. She prayed. She made a list of her past compliments and good reviews. And she told herself she will heal. And that's great. Okay. So then we have some stuff about how to deal with this criticism of ourselves, shame and doubt and all that sort of stuff. And again, she reminds us in the green of useful criticism, which is ways to make the art better, and things that are not undermining us and who we are. Useless criticism, she says, leaves us with a feeling of being bludgeoned. And then she talks about, she reiterates that we're dealing with our inner child. The creative spirit is an inner child. And she gives a list of rules of the road that are useful in dealing with any form of criticism. I'll read just the ones that I've highlighted, although they're all good. So number 5 with the green arrow says, remember that even if you have made a truly rotten piece of art, it may be a necessary stepping stone to your next work. This is something that I try to share with my students. I say, it doesn't matter. Just, you have to make something bad maybe first before you can make something a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And a really wonderful conversation with Michael Joseph Harris, who's a great guitar player down in Baltimore that I work with. I was talking to him about teaching and stuff, and he said, he doesn't teach, but he tries to mentor in other ways. And so he does this, he runs a weekly jam session, and he says he tries to be very encouraging to everybody that's at the jam session. And that's his kind of energy of teaching, which is just beautiful. And he said he tries to encourage people and tell people it's okay to suck and you have to suck. You just got to suck. At the beginning, you're going to suck, and you just got to suck. You just have to. And you can't quit and you can't skip it. You're just going to suck and just keep going, you know? I think that's great. It's very true in everything. In anytime you're going to do something new, no matter if you're professional, and you have to always continue to pursue new things, new genres, new instruments, new things you're doing creatively, all that sort of stuff. And you're going to suck at first, and just be okay with that. Embrace that and know that after a while of sucking, you will suck less, and then you won't suck, and then you'll be better, and you'll, all that sort of stuff. Okay, number 6. Look at the criticism again. Does it remind you of any criticism from your past, particularly shaming childhood criticism? So how is this related to early? How is this actually triggering? I love that idea. When I was in the 10-day meditation retreat back in like 2015 or so, one of the things they described is this, I guess, Buddhist idea of how pain, that we feel emotional pain, is a big chain link of chains. It's a chain with various links. And so every time we feel a new pain, we add it to a similar chain, So if it's like the pain of like a broken heart, well, that's going to go on to the other link that was, the last time I broke up with somebody or got my heart broken, back, all the way to my childhood, whatever, abandonment from my mother or whatever that is. And it's this huge chain that is all triggered by the next link in it. That reminds me of that. And number 9, do it. Creativity is the only cure for criticism. How about that? That's pretty cool. And then she has these little prompts, and I liked this a lot. This was fun. So I encourage everybody to do this who's playing along at home. My favorite childhood toy was Legos. I don't need to share these. You guys don't care about that. But anyways, I finished them, and I like that. I thought that was very fun. She talks about growth. Again, which she told us, go slow. Don't pull a muscle in this. Don't go berserk and bananas trying to go from 0 to 100 miles per hour. Just go slow and incrementally. She reminds us with. And then kind of last thing that she closes out the chapter is be kind to yourself. And she says, why don't you check in with yourself multiple times in the day if you can? How am I feeling? What do I feel? How am I feeling? And then be kind to yourself. Tell yourself some good positive self-talk. That's cool. And then the tasks. So the tasks revolve around sort of thinking about your childhood and stuff that's happened to you in your childhood. Thinking about your current circle of friends and people that you find to be inspirational and helpful to you. Stuff like that. I won't go through all the tasks, but those are pretty cool. And I personally, for this, I have sort of planned out my artist date. I found a cool concert that I'm going to go to on Friday night, again by myself. It's an artist I did not know, but they're playing up at this very cool venue called Pappy and Harriet's that's up in the Joshua Tree area. And that's cool. So I bought my ticket already. I'm going to go do that. I'm excited. And that's something that's not instrumental music. It is very, very different than classical music, than the classical quartet that I saw this Saturday, but still inspirational. And it's an artist called Gallant. I'm not sure how you pronounce their name. And the opening artist seemed cool too. And then I sort of planned out the tasks and which tasks I'm going to do on which days. And the only other change I'm going to make is I don't use it enough, but I have this thing that I call my morning ritual, which is just like, it's in my task manager thing that I, remember to return the paint to Home Depot, or, you got to pay this bill or send money to your sister or whatever kind of stuff that I got to do. It goes in my little Apple reminders thing. And I have like this saved list that I often, not every day, but I pull it up and it just has like some self-care stuff. Take your vitamins, drink water, do this thing, that thing, do your morning pages. And I want to try to add these like every day, just remind myself to do these tasks, because I didn't do them every day and I didn't do my morning pages every day. A lot of that has to do with just having a guest living here, my friend Devin, who you guys met last week, and then just really being totally consumed. This is kind of, I'm putting most of my normal stuff aside just to try to finish this house while I have Devin here and his wonderful expertise. But still, I still need to have that sort of, stuff moving. So that's kind of what's going on. And here we are, right at the 1 hour mark, just about. So that's great. Any comments from the chat? if not, I hope we all have a wonderful Artist Way week here, recovering. And I think now we'll just move on to the next part of the show, which is kind of getting inspired. What I feel like is inspiration from checking out YouTube videos of music and musicians that we like. So I did not really get a chance to prepare. That huge dumpster, the Artist Way stuff kind of got me a little busy here. So why don't we just check out, let's see, am I in the right? What's going on here? Samuel Barber. I feel like I'm in the wrong tab. If I scroll. Yeah, okay, here we go. We're in the right tab now. Okay.
Michał Sawicki, śpiewający akordeonista. Zapada zmrok, już światu kołysany. Znów jeden dzień odfrunął nam jak ptak. Panience swej piosenkę na dobranoc zaśpiewać chcę w ostatnią chwilę dnia. Panience swej piosenkę na dobranoc zaśpiewać chcę w ostatnią chwilę dnia. I chociaż wnet ostatnie światła zgasną, opieka Twa rozproszy nocy mrok. Uśpionym wsią, ukołysanym miastom, Panienko, daj szczęśliwą dobrą noc. Uśpionym wsią, ukołysanym miastom, Panienko, daj szczęśliwą dobrą noc. I ludzkim snom błogosław dłonią jasną i oddal od nich cień codziennych trosk. I tym, co znów nie będą mogli zasnąć, Panienko, daj szczęśliwą dobrą noc.
All right.
I tym...
That's some beautiful music for us. Let's move right on to Lin Jing'an playing, let's see, can you guys see it? Yeah. Performing a Bayan concert. And you don't listen to all of this, but let's see, we'll get this to the beginning. This is a Bach Prelude and Fugue. That's the prelude, now the fugue. Sounds so much like a pipe organ. Okay, beautiful. Let's see. I'm just looking at the rest of the program here. It's a big concert. Let's see. List. I Love You, China. Let's hear one more. Let's hear this. This might be kind of 12 minutes. Might be a little long for us, but we'll listen to some of this. I suspect this might be a piece of new music, so kind of dissonant. Chris. Happy to see you watching. So I'm curious out there in the chat, everybody watching, how do you feel about this new music, which is, I don't know, full of different harmonic and melodic vocabulary and maybe quite dissonant, although that's sort of very pigeonholing it to one sort of description. I'm curious how everybody enjoys that. We're gonna move on and listen to something else. This is pretty fun. Let's see. So it is the Festival Nacional de Chamamé. So it's the Chamamé National Chamamé Festival. We from Corrientes. We had a whole episode on chamamé, and we check in with these chamamé musicians. This is from the area around Uruguay and the south of Brazil and the north of Argentina. This music called chamamé, and the cool thing about it, or one of the many cool things about it, but one is that we find it on so many free reed aerophone instruments. So bandoneon and piano accordion and button accordion and diatonic button accordion, all of them with all kind of different systems, all kind of normal in playing this genre of chamamé music. This looks like we have a chromatic button accordion player and a bandoneon player. And let's check out this. I have not listened to this, so if I don't love it, then I'm going to move on to another, because there are multiple performances from this festival.
Soltarse amigo del alma y con el himno de Corrientes que explote.
Beautiful. Look at that. Seemed like they were dancing kind of slowly, which is cool.
Continuamos. Homenajeamos esta noche
A little faster.
a ese dúo que estuvo junto al taite del chamamé, Verón Palacio. ¡Ahí va! Muy escondido entre los esteros por donde corre manso bater, lugar bravío que en otros tiempos sintió bramar al yaguareté. Corral de tigre por eso ha sido y porque un día comenzó allí la legendaria y valiente historia del tamborcito del tacuarí. Pasaron años, los naranjales ya dan su aroma de ensoñación. Es porque entonces la dulce virgen le da su nombre cual bendición. Nunca te olvido, pasó Bastaña, Carbuicito, Puerto Tuyá. Lago Bragüero, Estero Veloso, Paso Cardoso y el Toro Acuá. Cuando llegue de nuevo el día de ver tu cielo con emoción, quiero evocarte en la lejanía, pueblo querido de Concepción. Quiero evocarte en la lejanía, pueblo querido de Concepción. ¡Epa! Selección de tema, con tu recuerdo a cuesta. ¡Epa! Vivo muy solo y triste, con tu recuerdo a cuesta, y me atormenta el alma, ya no sé más qué hacer. En otros labios quise olvidar nuestros días, imposible quitarte, está dentro de mí, y sufriré por su defecto, ingratitud me destruyó. Ese suplicio llevaré hasta el final de mi existir, y aunque el Señor compensará tanto sufrir y volverá, y así quizás un día podré ser muy feliz con tu querer. Vivo muy solo y triste, con tus recuerdos a cuesta, y me atormenta el alma, ya no sé más qué hacer. En otros labios quise olvidar nuestros días, imposible quitarte, está dentro de mí, y sufriré por su defecto, ingratitud me destruyó. Ese suplicio llevaré hasta el final de mi existir, y aunque el Señor compensará tanto sufrir y volverá, y así quizás un día podré ser muy feliz con tu querer.
A little faster.
Eterno homenaje a la fuerza de seguridad. ¡Epa! Camino al destacamento. Con su mochila, su bolso, paso firme se alejan. Camino al destacamento a cumplir con su función. Y aquel que deja un amor, una novia, una familia, duele más la despedida cuando se quiere de dos. Allá entre montes el sol tiñendo a la alborada, y amaneceres desgranan su dulce canto al zorzal. Un duende velarán solitarios por la vida, prefecturianos, gendarmes, policía, al mayor orgullo de argentinidad. Ahí va queriendo. Vamos Marcelo Gómez y familia. Ahí va queriendo.
All right, we'll kind of fade these guys out. Very fun. Okay, super cool. Let's see, what else do we have here? Yeah, let's do some more bandoneon music. Let's see. I think this is Tobias on the bandoneon. Let's check out what they're gonna do. Is this the entertainer? El Ant. I don't know. Probably not. We got more Congo. That's fun. Pretty. Awesome. Very, very cool. All right. So we love it. And let's see. Hey, Tom. Okay. So we got a little feedback on the, let's see, new music. Yeah, people don't love it. Not their thing. A little hard to follow. Yeah, very cool. Okay. So let's listen. Let's check this out. I don't know that we'll play the whole track, but this is Joao Baradas, who's a wonderful multi-genre accordionist. Just very amazing. From Portugal, performs across Europe, probably beyond Europe. This is a jazz tune. I didn't know what time it was. What musical is this from? Richard Rodgers. I don't know. My Fair Lady. You guys tell me. This is going to be a much sort of modern jazz version of it, I'm sure. Okay, well, all due respect to Joao, but we'll just fade that out. Yeah, that's art music for sure. Beautiful playing. I feel like Joao, I mean, I hear a lot of contemporary jazz influences, like Brad Meldau is a jazz pianist. I hear a lot of that kind of concept. And other Mark Turner, Kurt Rosenwinkel, kind of these more modern jazz trio, jazz quartet influences. Anyway, very cool. We have lots of cool stuff to check out. So let's see. Let's check out. This. Let's see. This is who is this? What's the name of this musician? I don't know. It's Accordion Land on his Giulietti freebase, which is called Bassetti. It's a 4-row and it's a C system. And these are instruments that Giulietti, I don't know Giulietti, his first name, but he made these. I think he was up in Massachusetts somewhere. And he really was trying to get the freebase thing going, and he built these beautiful instruments. Somebody loaned me one time. Very similar to that. A little bit more compact. Incredible instrument. Really super well made. Anyway, so let's check this out. This I have played this one. When I say I've played this one, I mean I've played this composition before. Maybe I'll play my version after this. Beautiful. Well, I may as well play my own. Let's see. See if I can find myself. Here I am. So this is Baby Dallas many years ago. This is my first competition, I think. I didn't do too many, but this is the first one. In fact, this, if you guys watched the live stream last week, I had Devin, who's here. You can't see him, he's actually outside putting trash out there. But he drew this illustration. That's really funny. I asked him to draw a little like logo for me, and that's what he drew. still like that performance. I think right at the very end, I wish I had brought the tension up just higher there. And there's things that I know now to do differently, but there's still a lot of really great stuff there, I think. Thanks, everybody. Fun. Alrighty. Let's check this out. I'm curious what this is. This is on my subscriptions. Symphonic Stories, Bernstein, Bizet, Gershwin, Tchaikovsky. We love those composers. Birdie, you should learn this piece. It's beautiful. You can find it, public domain anywhere. I'm sure I have mine. I did that one on the Quint converter system. All right, let's check this out. I want to see what this is. Saxophone quartet plus piano. Okay. I don't love it. What's it? Marie Kondo? It does not bring me joy or whatever. If it doesn't bring us joy, let's move on. So this is Jeff Taylor, who we love. Seems to be established, one of the major established national accordion players, along with Rory Hoffman and Joy Miskelin. Which reminds me, this Sunday I'm going to be the interviewer for a wonderful hour and a half, I think, with Joy Miskelin, who's going to be the guest for the ATG event. I invite everybody to come and attend that. I think it's like $40 or something, but well worth it. You'll support Joey, you support the ATG, and you'll have this wonderful experience getting to learn some pearls of wisdom from Joey's amazing career around polka music, Western swing, as a professional musician his entire life, really at the heights of what an accordion player can do as far as popular music genres. Okay, let's check out Jeff Taylor now. And this, it's called The Down Home Waltz by Buck White. I don't know this piece. I wonder if anybody does. And they say it begins at 3 minutes and 50 seconds. So
twice as many people in here. Buddy Green, welcome. It's for you, Mr. Buck.
Who are the accordion players? Who's on that little purple accordion? Who do we have here? We got Mike Zikovich, Anthony Sedik, and Jeff Taylor are the accordion players here.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2.
pretty. I did anybody know that tune? I'd never heard that. Very cool. Let's see. There was one that was, let's see, down by Lynn's video. I'm curious what this is. Let's check this out. So we have Nicoletta Tudorache, Solo Symbol. Okay, Solo Symbolum. That's what it is. I thought we were going to get some accordion in here, but that's okay. All right, let's check out Karel Krayenhoff is a bandoneon player that we have checked out before. And here's Leonie Janssen. See what they're up to.
In elke vrouw, in elke man zit een verlangen, groot of klein, om in dit leven, als het kan, één keer gewichtloos vrij te zijn. Vrij van verdriet en niet meer bang. Niet meer alleen en los van toen. Omarmd door oeverloos geluk. In staat iets kolossaals te doen. Die ene dag, die ene nacht. Niet meer te vragen van waarom. Maar zeker weten, dit ben ik. En dit gevoel, daar gaat het om. In elke vrouw, in elke man zit een verlangen diep verstopt. Om in dit leven, als het kan, één keer te voelen dat het klopt. Die ene dag, die ene nacht, die ene man, die ene vrouw. Waardoor je één keer zeker weet dat deze aarde draait voor jou. Als je dat één keer hebt gevoeld en je dus weet dat het bestaat, dan moet je tot je laatste snik onthouden dat het daarom gaat. Een wonder komt soms onverwacht. Je weet het nooit, misschien vannacht.
Wow. That is very pretty. That really, I felt that. Very, very pretty. That's the only, let's see, there's that. Piazzolla. Okay. That's all right. Okie doke. Moving right along. Okay, let's check this out. So Pilastare. We love videos filmed outside. So let's check out this band.
Esta para que se salina gente de fuera del país.
Vinyl music. Okay, that's cool. Let's check out Maestrino on this wonderful show. This is called Café La Casa. With this is
Mestrinho, quando a gente pensa...
Nelson Faria is this guitarist, and it's an interview show. It's been around for a while, and he has like the biggest musicians in Brazil come, especially instrumental musicians, come on this show, and they play together. And I don't remember if Maestrino has been on this show before, but other accordionists have. Let's see. There's a lot of interview. And then there's usually playing. Let's see if I can find... Is there... Maybe this is just the playing part. Or I mean the interview part. Let's see here. I guess this is just... Oh, wait.
A gente chama de mestrinho. Eu não sei nem qual... Que não me conhece.
No, I don't think we get any of the playing. Dang it. Oh well. They used to have the full episodes, and now I feel like they're just like, you just get like these teasers so that you maybe watch it on TV or something. I don't know. Anyway, okay. Let's check out this Gorka Hermosa. I believe this is his piece that he composed about the war between, or the invasion, I would say, of Ukraine by Russia, called Peace Dream. And I believe this is a Ukrainian melody and a Russian melody, and they fight each other. And it's a Ukrainian accordionist and a Russian accordionist performing, and then Gorka's in the middle. This is a long piece of music. That's Peace Dream 1, Peace Dream 2, okay, Peace Dream 3, and then Guernica. So let's listen to the first movement of Peace Dream. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Gorka, Chris, you were there. We saw Gorka perform. It's cool to see him again in this context, you know. So okay, I see what's going on. I'm still here, guys. It's just I think my camera has overheated. So let me switch to the FaceTime camera here. There we go. All right, it's over there. I don't want to move the laptop for fear I'll unplug something. Anyways, there's my messy room in the space of this house remodel project. Okay, we have time for one more tune today. Let's see, who should we check out? What didn't we look at? I think we looked at all this stuff. Oh, okay, here, let's go out with one final Chamamé Festival tune. We'll listen to some of Manuel Cruz and Quarteto Estampa Correntina, pardon me. A little bit of this, and then I'll say goodbye. Let's see, there we go. Oh, I see why you guys aren't seeing me. Let's see. One moment. There I am. Hello. All right. Chris says Gorka is incredible. Yeah, agree. What an artist. Okay, here we go.
Semblante del acordeón, que aquí se planta elegante, cual nuestro insigne pendón.
That's where we'll end for today. Thanks everybody, and hey Mike, hi and bye. It's my pleasure to do this. I'll see everybody next week, and feel free to go to the forums and contribute. Have fun with your artist way and all your music.